Choice is at the heart of our student assignment plan in Jefferson County Public Schools. It is what makes our plan stand out. It's what makes this district unique. After reviewing our plan, our advisory committee has come up with several suggested changes that our Board of Education will vote on. Introducing new interest-based magnet schools and programs, replicating popular magnet schools and programs, eliminating school-initiated student exits for magnet programs and schools, centralizing the lottery system for admissions into magnet schools and programs, and giving students in our satellite areas of West Louisville the option to attend school closer to home and end forced busing. For the first time, we'll reveal details of that last recommendation of our plan that impacts students in West Louisville. A consultant has been helping to shape this option and determine how this will all work. We'll take you through the process step by step and then ask for your feedback by completing a form that's linked in the video description. This is a big moment for JCPS to expand equity for all students in our district.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for our virtual Student Assignment Summit. We wish we could do this in person, but we know right now this is our safest option. We want this to be an informative session for you as we walk through the recommendation from our advisory committee for middle and high school students, specifically in West Louisville. This plan would provide choice. Choice is something students in our satellite area of West Louisville haven't had for decades. For thousands of middle and high school students in West Louisville, their only option has been to travel outside of their neighborhood to attend classes. This isn't equitable, and quite frankly, it isn't fair. In order to create this option, we will have to look at building new schools. Unfortunately, we have not invested in our infrastructure or facilities in West Louisville in many decades in order to allow students the option of going to a school close to their home. Since the mid-70s, middle and high school students from West Louisville have often been forced to leave their community to attend school, and it hasn't been their choice. The last high school or middle school that was built in West Louisville was the new Central High School that was actually built in 1956 when Muhammad Ali was a ninth grader at the school. If this plan is approved by our board, it will require the construction of 2 new middle schools and another high school in West Louisville. This would be in addition to the already multi-million-dollar renovation taking place at the Academy at Shawnee to renovate the school and fix the 3rd floor that has been condemned since 1981. It's time we invest in our students and that our buildings reflect how we see them and their futures. Here are a few more details about the plan. The purpose of the plan is to provide another choice for students residing in West Louisville. Students would have the choice to continue to attend a school located outside of West Louisville or a school closer to their home. The closer to home option would be a new West Louisville Middle School and the renovated and reimagined Shawnee High School. If approved by the board, the concept would begin implementation at the start of the 2021-2022 school year with 6th and 9th graders only. What we are about to show you reflects full implementation, but this would be phased in over 3 or 4 years. To help us develop this plan, we have been working with consultants from Cooperative Strategies. In this presentation, you'll see how the boundaries are set up now in West Louisville, how they would be more fluid, and how we would go from our current organization of 50 different patterns for students to go from middle school to high school down to just 11. As you look at this, we ask that you think about what this could mean for your family and the true choice it could provide to students all across this community. Scott Leopold is from Cooperative Strategies and is here to walk us through this choice concept. Scott?
Thank you, Dr. Polio. It is nice to be here. This slide here shows our current satellite zones. As you can see, West Louisville is kind of diced up into probably 25 or 30 different pieces. I think it's important to realize that currently these students are zoned in multiple sections. So for example, looking at DOS, there are 4 separate areas that are currently zoned to DOS. And those students don't have a closer to home choice. They are zoned out to DOS. And looking at Eastern, Eastern has 2 different zones that are separated by a piece of Ballard. Jefferson Town, also 2 separate zones. Shawnee High School kind of spreads out all the way across east of 65. And so this just kind of gives you a picture of what the current situation is in West Louisville. We have created this feeder pattern chart, and this chart applies only to the area that we showed on the previous map. And so this shows what the feeder pattern is, or the series of schools that a student would have to go to based on the current boundary assignments. So for example, students that are attending Jefferson Town High School, they correspond and they would be coming from 5 different middle schools. So Crosby, Highland, Mezque, Shawnee, and Western. And this doesn't include Ramsey or Carithers, which would be attending Jefferson Town from their kind of primary boundary. This would only include those satellite areas. So in total, there are 50 different feeder patterns that a student would have to go through with the current zoning situation. So for our dual reside scenario, what we've attempted to do is to really consolidate these and make them larger and contiguous. And so as you can see, instead of having those 25 or 30 different zones, we're down to less than 10. And so we have this area here, which would be zoned to Cameron Middle School and Ballard. We have this area here, which would be Conway and PRP. These 2 areas here would be Doss and Valley High Schools, and then Frost Stewart Middle School, 6th grade and middle schools. And then Jefferson Town here in the middle with middle schools feeding in would be Carithers and Ramsey. Moore, of course, is that 612 program. We also have Knight and Fairdale down here, Seneca and No, and Atherton and Mezque, and then Westport feeding into Wagner. Looking at this overall, our current scenario, again, we have 12 different schools that do have satellite zones at the high school level, 3 that do not have satellites. Under this proposal, that would be reduced to 8 satellite zones, and then we would have 4 schools that would not have satellites, Fern Creek, Iroquois, Southern, and Western. We have 3 areas that would be contiguous, so they would have boundaries that would go into our West Louisville study area, but they would be contiguous with the rest of the primary boundary. Those are Atherton, Seneca, and Wagner. As we look at the feeder pattern, we would be reduced from 50 different distinct feeder patterns down to 11. And so this slide just illustrates what the simplicity of that feeder pattern would look like. Again, as I mentioned on the previous slides with the map, Cameron into Ballard, Crosby into Eastern, Knight into Fairdale, Mezque into Atherton, Westport into Wagner. Stewart would split between Dawson Valley, Moore would be self-contained, Conway into PRP, Carithers and Ramsey into Jefferson, and No into Seneca. And this is just for the West Louisville study area. There would be additional feeder patterns outside of the study area. To kind of give you a bigger overview of how this looks, this current map shows, again, a zoomed out version of the current situation. And so you can see where all the schools kind of fall in reference to West Louisville. The colors all coincide. And so Eastern over here, that color corresponds to its current zones here, these 2 separate areas. And then the next slide shows what it would look like with our proposed scenario. And so I do want to point out, it's very easy to see in this map how that adjacency and contiguity works. And so we do have this area of Wagner within West Louisville, and they are contiguous with the existing boundary. The same is the case with Atherton and Seneca. And so the students that would be in this kind of black outline that we're defining as the current satellite zones would all have the choice to go to a closer to home option or to go out to their zone school in this map, which would be Wagner, Atherton, or Seneca. And the same goes for any other students that would be in this study area. I'm going to go back and forth one more time just to kind of give you an idea of what that change looks like. So moving on to middle schools, this is the same map, but this shows the current middle school boundaries. And so you can see some of the schools do come out of the, out of the study area. Mezque, for example, is in the green here. No kind of straddles our study area as well. And now I'm going to move to the proposed boundaries for middle school. And again, these align with the high school scenario that we showed in the previous slides. And so you can see here's Cameron, Crosby, Westport, and Mezque over here. No, the area within the boundaries changed a little bit. There are some areas that are contiguous that do come in. Conway, notably, this is contiguous, the existing Conway zone that's currently detached from the boundaries. So we do have a detached zone for Conway, or a satellite zone, but it is contiguous. There are multiple pieces of it. Frost and Stewart is contiguous with a portion outside of the area. And then, of course, No, just like it is currently, is kind of straddling that line there. And so I'm just going to go back and forth to just show kind of the complexity again of what the current zones look like. And then here's the proposal. So with that, thank you, and I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Scott. As you can see, we have spent months developing this plan and thinking through these scenarios. But we want to hear your thoughts. This is your opportunity to let us know what you think. Thank you.
The best way to let us know your thoughts is to fill out the feedback form in the video description. What do you think works about the plan, and what do you still have questions about? There is also an opportunity to sign up to be a part of a focus group. You can sign up on the same feedback form. Families with students in the 1st through 8th grade in West Louisville will also be asked to take part in a survey about the proposal. This work cannot be done without community input. We are here and ready to listen to you. Thank you.